our second speaker, the wonderful Tammy S. Drost. And Tammy is an award-winning business and brand strategist and top 10 business coach. With 20 years plus experience as a business and brand strategist, marketing executive, creative director, and head of operations in agency, corporate, and non-profit environments, Tammy recognized that regardless of industry and asset size, each organization faced similar challenges. Through a 360 approach, she implemented award-winning solutions for large, complex corporations and realized they could be tailored to small businesses. In 2019, Tammy founded the Business 360 Method to equip female entrepreneurs with knowledge, strategies, tools, resources, and support to build a strategic and integrated business foundation that gets them down to business and back to living. Tammy built the 360 method while grieving the loss of her youngest son to suicide, recovering from an assault, renovating her home, and moving with 2 dogs and 2 cats. The Business 360 method offers business and brand strategy and alignment, one-to-one coaching, a private Facebook community, a done-for-you business plan, strategic planning, an 8-week business brand marketing and communications program with group coaching. Tammy is a boy mum who enjoys traveling, kayaking, the gym, yoga, good books, and a time with her 4 pets. Tammy, over to you.
Thank you. First, I want to thank Carol and Ritu for including me and allowing me the opportunity to share my story and the stage with some great speakers today. As Carol said, I am Tammy Drost. I'm an award-winning business and brand strategist, 2022 top 10 business coach. And like many women out there, my journey to success hasn't been an easy one. I think many of us have found that it's a long, winding road, often filled with potholes, maybe some detours, and a number of challenges along the way. And, I was one of those women. A lot of us are, when we're 18 years old, we have to decide what we want to do with the rest of our lives. What do we want to be when we grow up? And I was one of those women who I just didn't know. I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up, but I assumed that education would probably be a pretty good idea. So I dabbled in psychology, graphic design, illustration, business, marketing. And I honestly believe that my mother thought I was destined to become a career student. I think she had some real concerns. But my efforts actually resulted in a bachelor's degree in design and illustration. I was 3 credits short of also having a business and marketing degree. And ironically, I actually ended up with a pretty good mix of skills using both the right and the left side of my brain. And I had a knack for bringing the creative and the business side together in a strategic way that delivered results. By nature, I tended to be a chess player. I was always thinking 2 to 3 moves ahead, always trying to anticipate challenges and head them off before those challenges happened. And how many of us have heard, I know I heard it all my life. How many of us have heard that strong women raise strong women? In my case, it was the men in my life who made me strong. I grew up in a neighborhood of boys who treated me like one of their own. They taught me how to climb trees. They taught me how to do, at the time, typical boy things. They taught me that I had no limits and how to stand up for myself, and they served as stand-in brothers to interview all my potential dates. My uncles taught me to laugh, not take myself too seriously, and my grandfather, who was a Navy veteran, showed me how to suck it up, dry my tears, pick myself up by the bootstraps, and carry on. The men in my life showed me that I could be anything that I wanted to be if I was just willing to put in the time and the effort. My only roadblocks were the ones that I was actually putting out there out of fear because I wasn't ready or willing to find a solution to a challenge that I faced. And right out of college, I landed my first interview by cold calling a marketing director at a major corporation. In retrospect, it's probably a good thing that I had no fear. You see, I was expecting a one-on-one interview, and I arrived to discover that I was to present myself and my college level portfolio to a room of 6 managers and directors, all who were business minded. I pitched my heart out and landed the job that day, making more an hour than I ever thought possible. So what I say to women is never underestimate yourself. Great things can happen when you believe in yourself. And working as a creative with non-creative clients, I quickly realized that my business and marketing side, along with some psychology thrown in, was a powerful asset, if I put it to use strategically. Throw in some of my household management skills, along with some of my negotiation and conflict resolution skills as a parent of 2 children under the age of 5, and how could I go wrong, right? As women, we often have an entire toolbox of life experience and skills we don't think to use. We underestimate and undersell ourselves. It's statistically proven that men will not think twice about applying for jobs they maybe have 50% of the qualifications for. They just go for it. They say, why not? What's the worst that can happen? They say no. Okay. Well, women tend to overthink it. We second guess ourselves, and usually we'll go through a checklist to make sure we meet all the qualifications before we apply. I can't tell you how many stay-at-home moms who are re-entering the workforce, or maybe they're starting a business from home, and they've come to me and they've told me they have no marketable business skills and they don't know what to put on a resume. Wait a minute. What? Think about it. As a parent, your leaders, coaches, mentors, relationship builders, problem solvers, organizers, project managers, multitaskers. You're detail-oriented. You're the head of operations, money managers and bookkeepers. Chances are you also have some of the most innovative and creative negotiation tactics I have ever seen. So if you underestimate yourself, so will others. Although I do have to admit, as a parent myself, I have a fiercely independent and incredibly smart son who once failed to tell me he was sick and he went to school. So after driving an hour to work, parking my car, walking a few blocks to the office, I arrived at my desk, flipped on my computer, doing my normal morning routine, listened to the voicemail from the school nurse telling me I had to come get my son because he was sick. Are you kidding me? Back to the car I went. When I arrived at the school nurse's office, I asked my son why he didn't tell me he was not feeling well. He responded that I was not a qualified professional and he needed to see the school nurse for a diagnosis. The expression on her face was priceless, and I'm pretty confident that mine was even more priceless. The ride home served as an educational moment where my son was quickly brought up to speed on my qualifications. So many women underestimate the strategy, skills, knowledge, tools, and resources we already have in our toolbox that can be adapted to and leveraged in life and business for success. My agency days led to getting hired off a contract and 15 years as a creative director and brand strategy leader in the corporate world, where I realized that women were tough. In fact, they were brutally ruthless. The jealousy was rampant. Women openly sabotaged one another and stole each other's ideas, presenting them as their own. Happened to me quite a few times. Women who fought their way into leadership positions and were now positioned to help other women often slammed the door in the face of those behind them. They viewed one another as competition, not realizing that there was plenty of room for other women at the table. And once again, for me, It was my male colleagues and supervisors who opened the door to opportunities. They ensured I had a seat at the table, helped me bring my ideas to executives, and provided coaching, mentoring, support, and friendship. Eventually, I was in a position where I could grow other women. And I knew the mean girl culture had to change. So I created a corporate women's networking group along with another female colleague. It was a start. And when I did get in that position where I could help other women, I did. Over the years, I coached and mentored many women and supported them in achieving their goals. My next stop was as a brand strategy marketing leader at a nonprofit, and the urge to help women grew. In August 2019, I started a business called the Business 360 Method, a trademarked business methodology designed to give a holistic big picture approach to streamline business operations, business and brand strategy and alignment, and integrated in marketing and communications. But I was shocked to learn through a Barclay study that 47% of small business owners have no formal business plan or strategy to support their business growth. And of that total, 25% have an informal verbal business plan, while 23% have no plan whatsoever. So I have to ask, if we wouldn't jump in a car and go across town to a store or a park or maybe a museum where we've never been without GPSing it, why would we make a significant investment in a business with no roadmap? When you lead without a plan, you automatically position yourself and your business to work reactively versus strategically. Lack of a business plan typically results in 70% of business owners failing within the first 5 years. And a business plan and strategy are the most intelligent investment you can make for your business. So my mission became about equipping female entrepreneurs with the knowledge, strategy, tools, resources, and support to build a strategic and integrated business foundation that allows them to get back to business and get down to business and back to living. I teach women how to build an efficient and profitable business while balancing their personal life by working smarter. In building my business, I'll be the first to say, it was a challenge. I had to bootstrap it quite a bit, but I never backed down from a challenge. Every challenge that comes my way represents an opportunity to find a solution. 2 months after starting my business, I lost my youngest son to suicide. He was 25, 2 weeks shy of his 26th birthday, with the holidays right around the corner. I was there the morning he was found. That morning, my world, as I knew it, fell apart. I was no longer that strong woman. I couldn't pick myself up by the bootstraps and carry on. For the first time in my life, I faced a challenge that brought me to my knees. There was no solution. I couldn't get up. One of the first people to reach out was a male friend. He was a tough military guy who had lost 2 of his young sons 5 years apart due to undetected and undiagnosed medical issues. I asked him, "How did you survive this? How do I survive this?" He said, "You survive one step, one breath at a time. Make no apologies for your grief. It's your journey. There's no right or wrong way to grieve. You'll have good days, bad days, and everything in between, and you need to let it happen. It's part of the process." Some days, the only thing I could do was breathe. I planned my son's funeral, wrote his obituary, designed his headstone, cleaned his apartment, moved his belongings into storage, set up a memorial scholarship in his name, and faced the many things a mother should never have to face. It was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I went from being a confident, decisive entrepreneur to second guessing every single choice I made, wondering if my choices were what my son would have wanted. And sadly, I had no answers. Inside, I was shattered and broken. All those years of corporate training and being a mother allowed me to put on that game face. I forced a smile, pretended I was okay, while the people around me said I was the strongest woman they knew. I felt like a fraud. The emptiness and the lack of purpose, it consumed me. I would never be the same. That woman, she was gone. And days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, and before I knew it, a year had gone by. I had no focus, no purpose, and my business was the last thing on my mind. And then, in November 2020, I survived a horrific assault that left me with several injuries, including a broken back. They say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I don't believe that. When strong women go through something that is so tragic and traumatic to survive, they often emerge from the ashes as a very different woman. I went back to what my grandfather always told me: no one can do it but you. Pick yourself up by the bootstraps and carry on. At some point in our lives, we all face challenges. Whether you're someone who has suffered the loss of a child, significant other, parent, or maybe you've been the victim of a crime, been through a war, overcome mental or physical illness, or experienced some other type of trauma, I'm here to tell you that you can survive. You can get back to living. But how does one find purpose when emptiness and pain run so deep? How do they navigate something that caused so much trauma? Through my own journey, I learned to dedicate myself to living. That was the first thing I did. And I validated my feelings. It's okay not to be okay. And accept that happiness is a survival tool. Laugh amid the tears. Smile at someone or something. To survive grief, it's necessary to step away from it occasionally. And I had to experience grief in a way that was right for me. And for some days, that meant that I was screaming, I was crying, I was angry. I made self-care a priority. For me, that meant going for long walks in the woods, sitting by a lake, kayaking, or going to a gym. And then another tip that I found was helpful was breaking down the future into small increments, whether it's an hour, a day, or a week. Focus on one task at a time. Sorry, I'm getting hit with a light here, so I'm moving. Focus on one task at a time. And when I focused, I was in the moment. Grief became more bearable. I embraced the silence. I discovered that when I closed my eyes and listened, it brought clarity, peace, and a vision for the future. Stop apologizing for having a bad day. Grief, it's going to come in waves and has a way of hitting when you least expect it. And ask for help when you need it, and let people know the best way they can support you. I've heard so many people say when they lose somebody that they're all there in the beginning and then they go away. They do. And it's because they don't know what to say. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to help you. You have to tell them. And lastly, choose a way to honor your loved one or acknowledge what you've been through, whatever that is, in a meaningful way. As impossible as it seems, you can survive and persevere through trauma and tragedy. Through my own grief journey, I realized that life is too short to spend pursuing things I'm not passionate about. Tomorrow's not guaranteed, so I plan to live the life I deserve today. And along the way, I've come to see what others saw all along. I was strong, stronger than I could ever possibly have imagined. I'm Tammy Drost. I'm the founder and CEO of the Business 360 Method. My website is tammydrost.com. Please connect with me on social media. And if you mention you saw me on Men Are From Mars, I'll give you a 20% discount on coaching packages and my Done With You business plan. Thank you for sharing your time today.
Oh, Tammy, thank you so much for sharing. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Yeah. blessed to have you share what you shared this evening. And yeah, grief, yeah, as Wendy says, powerful story. Working through what you went through. There's no formula. No. And please, Tammy, put your contact details in the chat along with our other speakers as well. That would be fantastic.
Thank you.
Right. Okay. So now I'm going to open up the floor for any questions and answers. So Q&A. The floor is yours. Unmute your mics. Use this opportunity.
I've got a question for Tammy. Tammy, how long is it since your son passed?
He passed in October 2nd of 2019.
So it's still pretty raw. My heart goes out to you, hon. That's
Thank
tough. It's a really tough road. Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing on that one, because that's not an easy thing to talk about. Thank you.
And also ask Tammy, how did your older child deal with the loss of a sibling?
He had a very hard time. My youngest son dealt, we firmly believe that he was possibly bipolar, and he isolated himself. And unfortunately, because of the way the mental health laws are in the US, once somebody reaches a certain age, there's nothing a parent can do. And so he had been up here with me in New York, and we had tried and tried and tried. And it was the morning that I literally had an ambulance waiting in a court order that we found him. He did it that morning. And my older son struggled with guilt. He lives in Connecticut, and my youngest son is buried in Connecticut because I lived there. That was where he was born, and we lived there for 20 years. But I think it's tough. I've talked to a lot of parents who have lost somebody and siblings. There's an organization called the Compassionate Friends org. They're around the world. And siblings struggle. They really do. I've never personally lost a sibling, but I know people who have. And I've watched what my son goes through, and it's very difficult.
Thank you.
Tammy, if you don't know Jackie Simmons, she's got a nonprofit for children's suicide, and they've got an amazing song that some award-winning people have created, and I'm happy to introduce you to her.
I would love that. Thank you.
Beat me to it, Robert. You beat me to it, Robert, because I was thinking of Jackie as well. So thank you.
And I went through, I actually listened to somebody speak about, when we talk about men are from Mars, I actually listened to someone speak about how women and men process grief differently and the loss of a child. My friend who lost the 2 sons, he was a tough Navy guy, and he was always told, men don't cry. Well, men do cry. And he is actually now the president of that organization that I mentioned. On the board. But it's interesting to see how men versus women process things and process emotions.
Excellent.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed, to Tina's comment, one thing I've noticed is that my son is very, very, October was my son's date of death, and it was also his birthday. And we spend every, time together every October. We spend that time together. He's been very supportive of me, and in May in particular, Mother's Day is extremely difficult. And, we have developed a ritual that we do on those 2 months.
Awesome.
My
Mhm.
experience is that as you said, Tammy, there are times when you can anticipate the dates are going to be a tricky. However, there are things that just come up and bite you on the bum and you're not ready for them. There was the songs, the smells even, and there can be all sorts of things. I mean, those of you who don't know me, and that's most of you, my husband died after 20 years of marriage, literally 12 days after our wedding anniversary, and I came home to find him dead in the chair. So that was a bit of a shock. So Tammy, a totally different scenario, but the different grief journeys are different, and everyone, in my experience, everyone you grieve, you will grieve in a different way.
Absolutely true.
And so you get the smells, the songs, even some things. It was the other day I saw something that just brought me back to my mother. And so there are different things that will catch you out, and it's how you navigate those and the self-compassion and go, oh yeah, that's a moment.
Yeah, and you look at too what like workplaces in different countries offer for grieving periods. I know in the US it's 3 days. Most companies give you 3 days. How do you get through something in 3 days? Because it's 3 years later now, and I walked into a store in Colorado around Christmas time, and his favorite song was playing, and I just had a complete breakdown, as you said, with the songs. And so I don't think that in general workplaces are structured to help people or to let people go through that process, because it can happen anytime. Things can trigger it. And a lot of parents who siblings, and people who have lost spouses, especially when it was under tragic circumstances, regardless of what those are, a lot of times they develop PTSD, very similar to what you see in veterans.
Yeah. I mean, 3 days is not even enough to organize a funeral.
No, it's not.
And those are that's when you're in numb mode and you're not processing any emotions at all anyway. It's down the track that things really hit. And yeah, I was asked to take some time off because I was not helping the atmosphere of the office. I was bringing people down. Okay, I'm sorry, just lost my husband.
Yeah, it's not, I was kind of actually relieved that at the time I was out of the workplace and I was starting my own business, because I had enough in savings that I could just not, I could deal with it the way I needed to in my own world.
Yeah, it's one of those situations that nobody wants to address.
Yeah. Robert, fascinating. Oh, sorry, Tina, go. Yes, go.
Just on that grief thing, I'd really like to add to that, because somebody who shuts you down in your grief is actually shutting down something inside themselves. It's triggering that person. They can't, they want you to stop. And I had that personally happen after my mother had passed, and I joined this spiritual group, and this woman who was running the show, she actually snapped at me one day and said, it's been over a year. And she was stuffing the fact that she lost her husband. So it's really important to understand that if you feel like they're coming at you, but it's something in them, it's not about you always.
Yeah, and the way that you process grief for your mother, and I process grief for my son, and Wendy processes grief for her husband, we've all lost somebody extremely important, but we all
Yeah.
process it very differently because there's so many different relationship dynamics going on there.
Yeah, but I mean, who is someone else to judge what you're feeling?
I know.
It's your feelings. But that really sort of like, I reacted and I'm like, oh gosh, you shouldn't even be running a business. In my head, I'm thinking, I never went back. But I realized that woman was in so much control pain at the time. That's how she was coping. And I can honor that in her, but it really wasn't helpful. I didn't understand at the time that I wasn't just being picked on. You know, it was really odd. But yeah, so to understand that when somebody's not quite good with you, it's not about you, it's usually about the person acting out.
That's so true.
Anyway, yeah. Thank you.
Robert, I love what you're doing.
Thank you. And this whole conversation is that we're talking about right now, because 10 minutes before we started, I get a call from my brother. And he said, my mom's in Arizona, she'll be it, but she's not going to make it to 93. He said, if you want to see your mother one more time, you better hop on a plane and then be very quick. She's going to her cancer doctor today. So, but again, I focus on celebrating a person's life. You know, again, we can control, and again, we've all got different ways of grieving. I get that. And it's, you know, whatever techniques we use as far as how we can release it, and have that as part of your memory. So after I hang up from this, I got to figure out when I'm going to Arizona. And, yeah.
Oh, geez.
Our thoughts and prayers are with you, Robert, and your family. Yeah. Yeah.
Robert,
How long is the flight?
Oh, it's only an hour and a half. It's not long.
Okay.
I'm in Santa Rosa, so it's Northern California.
Okay. Excellent.
excuse me, Robert.
I'm sorry.
Robert, yeah.
Yes.
I nursed my mother in palliative care, but I have a sister with oral cancer now. And I think the question you ask yourself is, like, what do I need? Like, because I know I'm going over next week probably to be with my sister, and we don't know a time frame, but I know that I'll have completed my journey.
Yeah.
So there's that. Am I okay? That's what I had to ask myself with this, but it's hard. Yeah. Anyway, thank you. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Any more questions? Observations? I think, Tammy, what you said about, you know, making the most of the times that we have. Tomorrow is never guaranteed. And that's what propels me. I enjoy life because, you know, it's there to be lived and to the best of our ability. Friendships are precious, and honoring them and valuing them is just amazing.
Yeah, I never realized and never noticed until I lost someone so close to me that how, you know, a lot of people wait. They say, I'm going to wait until my kids are grown up. I'm going to wait until my kids are off to college, or I'm going to wait until I'm stable in my career to do this. And what I say is life passes you by so quickly.
Yeah.
Don't wait.
Yeah.
Do it now, because there's no time like the present, because you don't know what's going to happen the next morning. You don't know what's going to happen. You could step out your front door and that's the last time, you know, you step out your front door. So I tell women all the time, you know, because especially you see women a lot of times putting their careers on hold because they have young children at home. And I say, you know, why? Go for it. Do it now. You can start it while you're home. You don't need to be out of the house if you want to start a business. There's so many possibilities.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And on that note, Jill, it's good to see you. Haven't seen you for a while. It's lovely for you to join us. Jill has also been a speaker in the past on the platform. So wonderful.
Just say that I'm sorry I don't always get to the talks. It's just so much is happening. And when I did give my talk, I didn't realize how far back I could actually get involved with my talk. But I enjoyed it and I appreciated it. And sorry I was late today. But
No,
anyway,
better late than never. Awesome. Thank you once again, everyone. Lovely having you join us.
Can I just share something very quickly? Can I share something very quickly?
Yeah, Wendy.
The sun is coming up. The sky outside is alive. It's bright, it's pink, it's gorgeous.
Wonderful.
So on behalf of Friday, it's going to be a grand day. Smell the roses, watch the sky, live for the moment. Is
where
my
are
thought.
you?
I'm in Perth, Western Australia.
Oh, well, yes.
It's 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Going back to bed. Thank you, guys. I really
and
appreciate it.
for Tina as well.
And here we just have sunset, so it's about 4 p.m. right now. So Eastern.
Oh.
You send some sun to us, so thank you.
I know. Oh, it's
Oh,
summer
gosh.
on your side, Wendy, right?
Oh yes, absolutely.
There
It
you go.
is. It's blooming hot. I mean, it's 26 degrees at 5 in the morning.
Just
Wow.
send some of that sunshine.
And please don't forget to save the chat.
Thank
Some
you.
useful links in there.
Thank you. I'll listen to the recording. Thank you for, I got to hear Robert, so thank you, Robert. And Tammy, I'll catch up on your talk. And
Yeah.
Effie.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. And Wendy and Tina, enjoy your Friday. That's just beginning, or just, well, it's begun at 3 a.m. So thank you again. Yes, Robert, I might get some time with you because I'm into
Definitely.
network marketing too, amongst other things that I do.
Yeah. You've got my calendar. It's in the chat.
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
All righty. So Ritu, final words.
What can I say, Carol? I just want to say a big thank you to everybody for sharing their precious time with us tonight. We are grateful to our wonderful speakers and to all the people who shared their time with us. And all I can say is please stay connected. We are a wonderful community of some lovely, lovely people. We have a WhatsApp group where we share our platform for ladies only, gentlemen, to promote their businesses. And if you'd like, I can share, or Carol, if you don't mind, can please, if you remember the number, or I can.
I was just about writing something in the
That's
chat, but
fine. You
something
carry on
else.
with that. You carry on with that. So that's the number. If you just drop a text here, I'll be able to add you onto a WhatsApp chat group. And we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram. And just give us a like if nothing more. And we also request our experts to offer a one-off free workshop, sharing their tips and tools with people, whatever they possibly can share. And we promote that workshop in our community, and we get wonderful numbers attending, and the feedback is great because it's all about helping people. It's all about reaching out to most people, as many as we possibly can, and sharing our knowledge and whatever it is we can serve them with. So we'd be grateful if any one of you would like to offer that. Get in touch with Carol or myself. You've got all the contacts. Please stay in touch. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you. And big fat thank you to Carol. How can I forget that? For bringing us all together, for putting all the effort and time in and bringing us together tonight. I'm so grateful for you, Carol. Thank you so much.
Can I just say one final thing?
Please.
The phone number that Rita's put up there, for those of us not in the UK, take the 0 off and put +44 in first.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you. That's right.
Thank you. I might have tried and wondered what went wrong.
Sorry, Jean.
No worries.
So Jean, I suppose Carol's got your contact details, so we can get in touch with you about the workshop.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okie dokie, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Have a lovely day. Have a lovely evening wherever you are. God bless. Bye for now.
See you
Bye
Bye
guys.
now, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Bye, everyone. Thank you very much.